Hey everyone, it's Jamie from independenceStNola and Seasonsinritual, and I'm here to talk about this Capricorn full supermoon that's happening today on July 3rd, 2023. Um, as as Helen and I had mentioned in our celestial weekly update, this is a big week for energetic shifts, and just a lot of energy coming onto the planet. Um, it is important to remember with full moons, they illuminate what is going on around us in our lives. And with that, we can see what it is that we want to release. But it's also important with these full moons to see this is the time then to start those intentions. So you see what's leaving your life or what you don't want any longer. And then you can set that intention for what you want to come in. And you keep setting that intention until the dark moon. That dark moon, you take a rest. And then you start to see what starts coming up from setting these intentions. And the full moon again illuminates. And then you see what you want to release and set the intentions and so forth and so forth. It's also important to note when there are full moons, that is when we are our most psychic and intuitive. So it's really important to take time to be quiet, maybe journal with yourself. And I know this is the holiday weekend, so you're like, man, James, there's fireworks going off, there's family screaming, eating hot dogs, quiet. But it doesn't have to be hours, it just can be a few minutes. So you just set that intention to be quiet and to see what comes in and allow yourself to listen, even when there's other things going on. As long as you stay present, you're going to get the message that you need. So let's talk about Capricorn. Capricorn is cardinal Earth. It's a cardinal sign. It's an Earth sign. Capricorn is the sign of work. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And I think this is a really interesting time to have this full supermoon, because of all the things that have happened, let's say with the Supreme Court or just where we are in our lives right now. Saturn is retrograde. And when Saturn turns retrograde, Saturn, first and foremost, wants stability in our lives. So when it turns retrograde, it starts to signal we have a deep rooted, eternal, like emotional strength. We have deep rooted perseverance in ourselves when Saturn turns retrograde. So this is a great time, actually. What was illuminated for us or what's being illuminated in our lives, and we're like, I don't want to do that anymore, or I don't want to believe those stories anymore. And with Capricorn being the sign of work, you can set those intentions like, I'm going to work on my finances. I'm going to work on being healthy. I'm going to work on setting intentions, once a week. I'm going to work on staying in balance in my life, right? Because now we're coming into the point of our lives where we are writing the story of our lives. We get to work on what we want to work on. So what's best for our highest selves, instead of thinking, well, I need to be making that amount of money and I need to be wearing those clothes. And, this influencer over here is telling me I should be doing this. So with this Capricorn full moon, it's like we're releasing all those outer ideas other people had about us, or those outer ideas that we thought other people had about us. And we start setting these intentions of what we want to work on to become our authentic selves, because it is who we know, who we're supposed to be. So again, it's important, I think, with this full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn is practical, right? Because it is an earth sign. And earth signs, the fixed earth sign is Taurus, right? And Taurus does rule money. And because Capricorn likes to work, but it's time to be practical about it. It's time to be like really understanding there's only 24 hours in a day. Practically, what can I get done in a day? Practically, what is practical in my life now at this time? I have to say this because it keeps coming up, so I'm trying to figure out a sentence and how to work it in, but I'm just going to say it and then work around it. So like with the stuff that comes down with like the student loans and like money, because that is, Capricorn as well, there are practical ways that you can get your shit together with money. And I've been watching a lot of these women who do cash stuffing. look up cash stuffing on YouTube. Okay. A lot of these women have turned their lives around in like 3 or 4 months, right? And that's that Saturn retrograde. If you're just like, I am never going to be, poor again or have this much debt again, you can have that determination to turn it around in 3 or 4 months. That's Saturn retrograde. That's you saying, I'm going to do it and I'm just going to work on it one day at a time. It's not going to, it might be a little awkward at first, but it's not going to be hard because you know what you want that outcome to be, and it's a practical outcome. It is for you to be happy, it's for you to have financial abundance, financial freedom. But this full moon in Capricorn is all about working on where you want to go now and who you are now and what you want to be. That's no one else's story but your own. It's also important to notice, which I'll probably do another video on. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the space this week about we're moving right into the Sirius gateway. And the star Sirius is our spiritual sun, right? It's our higher calling. And that also happens later today. So like all this good energy is coming onto the planet where it's like we're kind of waking up. And Capricorn, that little sea goat, is kicking us in our butt, and it's like, hey, let's do this. Like, we can. What do you want to do? Like, where do you want to go? What do you want to own? What do you not want to own? Okay, it's like the blinders were ripped off, and we're like, okay, let's just make a practical plan to do this. It doesn't mean working 20 hours a day. It doesn't mean working 7 days a week. It just means having that self-discipline to say, I want to be balanced. Okay, how can I be balanced every day? And you just work on it a little bit every day. And then the next thing you know, you're there. Does that make sense? It's not this idea of like Saturn's the taskmaster. It has to be really hard and very difficult. It's not that. It's just having that self-discipline just to stick with it every day. I did it every day. I'm seeing a difference every day. I'm happy with this difference, every day. I'm happy that I'm listening to myself. I'm working on listening to myself. I'm working on listening to my spirit. I'm working on, being grounded and working with my guides because I can use my intuition every day in practical life, right? Like you can use your intuition every day, being practical with it. I know talking to yourself, but like talking to yourself or setting these intentions or just listening. And the more we start to vibrate higher, the more our intention, and I was going to say, or the more that our intuition is working with us. And everything is going to keep getting your attention where you're not allowing yourself to work with your intuition, because now is the time, Capricorn full moon, to set that intention. I want to work with my intuition every day in a practical manner. And you can set up your own way. There's plenty of people on YouTube that have things or exercises you can do, and you do it, and you do it every day. And you don't have to meditate for 20 minutes, you don't have to do all these things, but you just set that intention. I'm going to use my intuition every day in a practical manner. So this Capricorn full moon, it's important to start seeing Capricorn and Saturn, not as signs that don't want us to have any fun or are very serious. You can work at having fun. There's nothing wrong with that. Or, people like to work, or, people like to work out and they have a good time. That word work is still in there. But it is important that we start to get our own stability no matter what is going on in the world around us. And it's really important to really see yourself as strong and see yourself as determined, and is like, there is a comfort and a solace when you're like, okay, I can do this, and I know I can do this, and I'm going to keep up with it. I am going to set the challenge. If you guys want to do something, do it for 3 months. Set the challenge. Okay, for the next 3 months, I'm going to do this every day. I challenged myself to that, and it's worked. And I was like, no matter what, I'm checking in with myself, and I said, I can do this for 90 days, and I'm still doing it. And look, I'm a procrastinator, hey, I would rather watch Netflix or just close my eyes and pretend like things aren't happening. But it got to a point in my life where I was like, no, we're going to make some changes and we can do it. And I just did. And it wasn't hard. It was just reminding myself, we're going to do this today. And then I did. And then here we are. So I hope this was inspiring. And I hope that you guys see that, full moon in Capricorn, it's really asking you to release ways you don't need to work anymore, or outdated ideas on how work is supposed to look, or outdated ideas on how work is supposed to feel, and then allow in new practical ways, like where we are in the world, where you are in the world, and where you want to go, and how you can just get there one day at a time, believing in yourself and setting up, little exercises or intentions, or just the belief that you can do this, and also understanding that you can use your intuition every day in a practical way. Okay, you guys, I'm going to leave it there. I hope everyone has a good holiday celebration this week. Is if you want to get in touch with me, you can always reach out, Instagram, YouTube, or the websites. I'll probably come back on and talk about the Sirius Gateway. If you guys are stressed out about the Supreme Court and things like that, no, all of that is like a stark ending. And this is the time where you look at that and say, I don't want that anymore. So you start intending to what you want because of all the good energy that's really coming on the planet right now. Again, it's this discernment. And it is looking towards the future. Okay, you guys, till next time. See you soon.